Okay, we're going to be going over Barron question number 7 now. Now, I'll go through it here. We have a cable company plans to survey potential customers in a small city surrounded served by satellite dishes. They consider 2 methods for sampling. Method A is to randomly select a sample of 25 city blocks and survey every family living on those blocks. Method B is to randomly select a sample of families from each of the 5 natural neighborhoods making up your city. Okay, so what's the statistical name for the sampling test technique used in Method A, and what's a possible reason for using it rather than SRS? So let's take a look at A here. Method A, you want to randomly select a sample of 25 blocks and survey every member on that block. All right, so let's say the city has 100 blocks, right? You're randomly selecting 25 of them, and you're surveying everybody in there. So you're separating your population into groups, and then you're randomly selecting groups and asking everybody. If that's the case, A is a cluster sample. Now, what might be a reason for doing that? Now, let's see. If they're doing the survey on foot, like say they're actually going door to door, it'd probably be a lot easier to do it this way. Because say you have a city, I'm going to try and design this really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to do some quick copying and pasting. Copy, paste. Okay, that's 10, 20, 30. Let's see. You can see I'm doing some very careful city planning here. Okay, so I got a bunch of houses, right? And it's saying that, let's say you're doing it as a block, right? You want to randomly select 25 blocks and survey every family member on those blocks. All right, say these are all the blocks, right? And then in these blocks you have houses. ... All these represent the houses in that block. Now, if you randomly select 25 blocks, right? That means you go here, spend all your time going to all the houses. Let's say you have to go over here, okay? Go to all the houses. Now, say you're driving, but then you're getting out of the car. It's a lot easier to do that, I would say, because one of the reasons it'd be easier to do that is because less time, or I'll even put less travel time. Because if you were to go to each one, right? Go here, 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 all the way to here, 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 and so on. That's a lot of traveling, right? Whereas if you just go to one block, ask everybody, okay? Go here, ask everybody. Go here, ask everybody. It's a little less time consuming than just going to one house, go to the next block. One house, go to the next block. So one reason I would say is less time consuming because you get to focus on particular areas. You get to focus on, I'm going to put less areas because, again, instead of having to go to every single block, maybe pick one family, that can take a long time. Whereas if you just go to a block, ask everybody, boom, you're done with that block. Go to another block, ask everybody, boom, you're done with it. Now for part B, it says you want to randomly select a sample of families from each of the 5 natural neighborhoods making up the city. Okay, now if you're doing that, right, you're putting them into groups, and you're going to selecting from every group. This is a stratified sample. It says there are 5 natural neighborhoods, right? Okay, let's shrink this down. One. Okay, these are the neighborhoods, right? And actually, I should probably make them abutting each other. Say this is what the town looks like, right? These are the neighborhoods, right? And you get all these little houses. And, notice how I'm kind of, giving them some space too. You want to make space for streets and stuff. All right. Now, if you go to each neighborhood, here's an advantage of doing that, right? There are 5 natural neighborhoods. Maybe every neighborhood has a different characteristic. Neighborhoods have different characteristics, and they're all represented. And all are represented. Here's an approach I would take with this, right? Now, in part A, right, you're randomly selecting 25 blocks. Say for some reason you ultimately only visit 2 neighborhoods in doing that. You end up doing that cluster sample. All your blocks happen to be condensed into 2 neighborhoods. Maybe those neighborhoods aren't necessarily characteristic of the entire town or city. Maybe the neighborhoods you go to here, right, are the really rich neighborhoods. And they're like, we got satellite. We're happy with that. Whereas you have all these other neighborhoods here saying, hey, we don't have satellite. We want cable. But the cable company would never know that because they only visited 2 neighborhoods. They didn't get a feel for the whole town. That could be an advantage of that stratified sample because you're getting a feel for every neighborhood. And every neighborhood might not share the same characteristic. So while in part A, it might be a bit more convenient, believe it or not, to do a cluster sample because maybe you're doing less traveling, it's easier to get it done quicker. And whereas a stratified sample, you have to go to every neighborhood. But with that going to every neighborhood, you get a feel for what the whole town may look like. Whereas if you did a cluster sample, as we learned with the Justin Timberlake activity we did, right? If you just selected all the people in the back row, you get the impression that maybe the concert wasn't that enjoyable. If you ask the people in the front, they had a heck of a good time because they were right up front. That's something important to note there. You want to make sure you're getting, you want to get something that represents your whole population. And in this case, if you don't go to every neighborhood, you might not get something that's representative of your whole population. Maybe you get all the people who have satellite or something. Or maybe the people who just don't watch TV. Maybe people in these first 2 neighborhoods are like, I don't watch TV. I don't want cable. So the cable company is like, okay, well, forget it. We're not going to install cable lines over here. Whereas they're missing out on a huge lucrative opportunity because all these people, they want to watch TV. They want their cable. So, or maybe we could even go the other route. Maybe these, first 2 neighborhoods are like, give me cable. I want cable. That'd be awesome. And the cable company's like, all right, we're going to invest millions of dollars. We're going to put up all these cable lines. We're going to get cable to the neighborhoods. They put them up, and then they don't get that many subscribers because they go to these other 3 neighborhoods we considered. And maybe these 3 neighborhoods are like, I'm fine. I don't want cable. So by doing that, they get a feel for whether it's worth it to invest in the entire town. Or, maybe they decide just to go with specific neighborhoods. That's a possibility too. Whereas with a cluster sample, you're leaving out pieces of the population that might be important. This would be an example where a stratified sample would probably be a better case than a cluster sample. Now, this isn't to say that all cluster samples are bad. It all depends on the context. I would just say in this case, cluster sample, you could be missing some key pieces of your population. So that's number 7 here, and maybe you had some more, you could have had a different approach with this, that's fine. This isn't the only correct answer, but I just wanted to share my thought process, and hopefully it helps you guys in the future when you have